For years, Sarah Mitchell endured dismissive attitudes and outright hostility from her colleagues at the defense contractor firm, treated as insignificant despite her expertise, until one phone call to the Pentagon turned the tables and reshaped her future. Sarah Mitchell was a 34-year-old cybersecurity analyst at NextGen Defense Solutions, a major contractor for the U.S. Department of Defense. NextGen, based in Arlington, Virginia, held multi-million-dollar contracts to develop secure communication systems for military operations. Sarah joined the company in 2018, bringing a Ph.D. in computer science from MIT and a track record of innovative research in encryption protocols. Her dissertation on quantum-resistant cryptography had caught the attention of recruiters who promised her a role where she could make a real impact. They spoke of cutting-edge projects, a collaborative environment, and a chance to protect national security. Sarah, driven by a passion for solving complex problems, accepted the offer without hesitation. From her first week at NextGen, Sarah sensed she didn't quite fit in. The cybersecurity team, a group of 12 analysts led by Greg Larson, a former Army captain, operated with a military-like hierarchy. Greg, in his late 40s, valued loyalty and familiarity, often favoring colleagues who shared his background or mirrored his assertive demeanor. Sarah, with her reserved nature and academic focus, stood out for the wrong reasons. During her first team meeting, she proposed an enhancement to the company's intrusion detection system, citing recent research on zero-day exploits. Before she could finish, Greg interrupted. "We've got this under control. Sarah, let's not overthink it." A few team members exchanged glances, and one, a senior analyst named Tom, chuckled under his breath. Sarah felt a knot in her stomach, but pressed on, determined to prove herself. Over the next 3 years, Sarah's experience at NextGen became a cycle of frustration. Her technical reports, meticulously researched and data-driven, were often ignored. Emails to Greg went unanswered unless she followed up multiple times. In project meetings, her suggestions were brushed off, only to resurface later when a male colleague presented them as his own. One incident stood out. During a review of a secure messaging platform for military field operations, Sarah identified a flaw in the authentication process that could allow unauthorized access. She presented her findings, complete with test results, to the team. Greg dismissed her with a wave. "We've run those scenarios. It's fine." 2 weeks later, Tom flagged the same issue, and Greg praised him for his attention to detail. Sarah sat quietly, her hands clenched on the table, wondering if her voice would ever matter. Outside the office, Sarah led a solitary life. She rented a one-bedroom apartment in Arlington, decorated with bookshelves filled with technical manuals and classic novels. Evenings were spent reading, coding personal projects, or volunteering at a local STEM program for high school girls. She loved mentoring, encouraging young women to pursue tech careers despite the barriers she faced. Her parents, retired teachers living in Columbus, Ohio, called every Sunday. "You sound tired, Sarah," her mother said during one call in 2020. "Are they treating you right at work?" Sarah hesitated. "It's challenging, but I'm managing." She didn't want to worry them, but the truth was she felt increasingly isolated. The workplace wasn't just dismissive. It could be cruel. During a team-building retreat in 2019, colleagues played a game of Guess the Role, where they matched job titles to team members. Mike, a junior analyst, pointed at Sarah and laughed. "She's got to be the intern, right?" The group roared, and Sarah forced a smile, hiding her hurt. Her desk, tucked in a corner near a loud printer, was a constant reminder of her low status. When she requested a software license for advanced threat analysis tools, Greg cited budget issues, yet approved similar requests for others within days. Sarah overheard him once telling Tom, "She's too academic, doesn't get how things work here." Despite the treatment, Sarah's work was exceptional. In 2019, she had developed a critical patch for a military satellite communication system after identifying a vulnerability during a routine audit. The fix prevented potential breach, and a Pentagon contact, Dr. Elaine Carter, sent her a personal email of thanks. At NextGen, however, the achievement went unacknowledged. Sarah kept her head down, believing persistence would eventually earn her respect. She worked late, often past midnight, refining her skills and staying updated on emerging threats. Her colleagues, meanwhile, leaned on her indirectly, asking for help with code or analysis, but never giving credit. By 2021, Sarah was at a breaking point. She loved cybersecurity, its puzzles, its stakes, but the constant dismissal drained her. She considered leaving NextGen, but worried about the impact on her career. The company's contracts gave her access to classified systems few others could touch. Quitting felt like giving up on her dream. She confided in a former MIT classmate, Priya, over coffee. "I feel like I'm shouting into a void," Sarah said. Priya nodded. "You're too good for them. Maybe it's time to make a move." Sarah wasn't ready to leave, but Priya's words lingered. The turning point came in October 2021, during a high-priority project called SecureLink. The project aimed to create a secure communication platform for joint NATO military operations, with a deadline of April 2022 and $50 million in funding on the line. Sarah was assigned to the encryption team, responsible for ensuring the system was impervious to attacks. She threw herself into work, analyzing code and running simulations to test for weaknesses. One Friday evening, while reviewing the encryption algorithm, she discovered a critical flaw, a weakness in the key exchange process that could allow an adversary to intercept and decrypt messages. She spent hours confirming her findings, running tests that showed a simulated attacker could exploit the flaw in under a minute. Sarah drafted a 10-page report detailing the vulnerability and proposing a fix that used a more robust key exchange protocol. Her solution would strengthen the system without delaying the timeline. She felt a surge of hope. This could be her moment to shine. At Monday's team meeting, she presented her findings. "This flaw could compromise the entire SecureLink system," she said, sharing graphs from her tests. "My fix addresses it efficiently." Greg leaned back, his expression skeptical. "Sarah, we've been over this code. It's been vetted by experts." Tom added, "Let's not slow things down with hypotheticals." The team moved on, her report left on the table. Sarah didn't accept the dismissal. Over the weekend, she ran additional tests, confirming the flaw's severity. She emailed Greg, copying the team with her updated analysis. "Please reconsider this," she wrote. "The risk is real." No one replied. On Monday, she overheard Tom joking with Mike in the break room. Sarah's at it again, playing Chicken Little. Her frustration turned to anger. She thought of the soldiers who would rely on SecureLink, the allies whose communications could be exposed. Ignoring this wasn't just personal, it was reckless. That evening, Sarah sat at her kitchen table, her laptop open to her test data. She thought about her time at MIT, where professors had praised her ability to identify what others missed. One mentor stood out. Dr. Elaine Carter, now a senior official at the Pentagon Cybersecurity Directorate. Elaine had been a guest lecturer at MIT, and Sarah had worked with her briefly at a cybersecurity conference in 2019. Elaine had given Sarah her contact information, saying, "If you ever need a talk shop, call me." Sarah had kept the number, never expecting to use it. Calling the Pentagon felt like crossing a line. Going over Greg's head could end her career at NextGen, but the stakes were too high. Lives depended on SecureLink's integrity. Sarah took a deep breath and dialed Elaine's number. It was after 8 p.m., but Elaine answered on the second ring. Sarah Mitchell was surprised. Elaine said warmly, "What's on your mind?" Sarah explained the SecureLink flaw, walking Elaine through her findings. "I've tried raising this with my team, but they're not listening. I wouldn't call if I wasn't sure." She sent Elaine her report via a secure email link. Elaine listened intently. "This sounds serious. I'll review it and get it to the right people. Stay available." Sarah barely slept that night, second-guessing her decision. What if Elaine dismissed her too? What if Greg found out and retaliated? By morning, her anxiety was palpable as she headed to the office. At 9 a.m., Greg called an urgent team meeting. His face was grim. The Pentagon reached out. They've identified a potential issue with SecureLink's encryption and are demanding a review. Sarah's heart raced, but she kept her expression neutral. Greg didn't mention her name, but she knew this was her doing. By midday, Colonel James Hargrove, a Pentagon official overseeing SecureLink, called Greg directly. Sarah was summoned to the conference room, where Greg, Tom, and 2 senior engineers sat. Hargrove's voice came through the speakerphone. Ms. Mitchell, we received your report through Dr. Carter. Your analysis raises serious concerns. Explain it to us. Sarah took a deep breath. The flaws in the key exchange protocol, she began, detailing how an attacker could exploit it to decrypt messages. She shared her test results, walking through the data step by step. My proposed fix uses a post-quantum algorithm that eliminates the vulnerability without impacting performance. She answered Hargrove's technical questions with precision, her confidence growing. Greg stared at his notepad, silent. Tom shifted uncomfortably. When Sarah finished, Hargrove said, "This is critical work, Ms. Mitchell. We're pausing the project until this is resolved. You'll lead the remediation team, with NextGen's full resources. Understood, Mr. Larson?" "Yes, sir," Greg muttered. After the call, Greg turned to Sarah. "You went to the Pentagon?" "Behind my back." "I had no choice," Sarah said firmly. "This wasn't about me. It was about the project's integrity." The room dispersed, but the air had changed. By afternoon, whispers spread through the office. Sarah called the Pentagon. One colleague said, "Half in awe." Tom approached her later, his tone sheepish. Didn't realize how serious it was. "Good catch." Sarah nodded, keeping her response short.